going on? It's Taran Killam, proud LACHSA alumni and former SNL cast member. I'm here on the Man Cave Chronicles with Elias, and we're going to have a good chat.
Taran, welcome to the cave.
Thank you for having me, Elias. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me today to talk about the 5th annual Future Stars Gala, LACSA. Like we talked about, you're an alumni, you're a host this year. I recently had Melina on as a guest also. Exciting time for you, my friend. I know you're excited about this event.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I so appreciate you taking the time. LACSA is, that's the acronym for the LA County High School of the Arts, which is where I graduated from. And it's one of a few LA County public arts high schools. So there's an arts focus, but it's a public school. So there's no tuition. It's completely free. And kids from all over the county and even outside of the county, I think technically have the option to audition if you're in a performing arts or submit a portfolio if you're a visual artist. And if you get selected, you get this, top tier. I honestly think it's since been, like, in the last 4 or 5 years, ranked the nd1 national public arts education in the country.
Yeah. Do you remember your audition when you went in?
I do. And this is because this is the man cave, I'm going to give you just the most dumb man but honest reason for why I decided to go to LACHSA. It was not my opinion or not my line of thinking by the time I left it, but I remember the audition and they had students who were already going there kind of walk you in, and then there were students you're auditioning with. And when I went, there was one girl named Amanda Moreno who was a year older than me, who was I was like, this girl is beautiful. Oh my God, I was so nervous, so intimidated. She walked me and she's like, here's the breakdown of LACHSA. Here's how it works. In the first half of the day is academics, second half is arts. I'll take you to the waiting room. And when I got there, there's an even more beautiful girl in there who was auditioning, and her name was Shelly Birdsong. And so I auditioned. Months later I got in. I was living in Big Bear, California at the time. And my mom told me hey, you got into the school. If you want to go, you get another month of summer because LACHSA does, starts in September, but Big Bear had what was called year-round school, track school. And she's like, and if you stay in Big Bear, you go to school next week. And so in my dumb man brain, I was like, first of all, there were some of the cutest girls I've ever seen in my life at LACHSA, and I get another month off of school for the summer. I'm going to LACHSA. So shamefully, none of my decision to go was part of it was art based, and that I loved performing, and I definitely want to pursue that as a career. But I was a dumb brain guy who's just like, cute girls and more time off, I'm in. and the fun wrap up to that story is that Shelly Birdsong ended up being my prom date.
Nice. Do you remember what did you do for the audition?
You had to do a classical piece and a contemporary piece. I forget the classical piece. I forget. I'm sure it was some Shakespeare monologue, something or other. And then my contemporary piece was from a play. My dad actually picked it for me. This is from a play called Look Homeward, Angel. And I played a young man talking to a girl about his big dreams, kind of thing.
Now, when I had Melina on last week, she was mentioning I think last year she said this was virtual, correct?
Yeah, you heard about the pandemic?
Something like that. I don't know. Something.
Yeah. That affected us too. Yeah, it was all online. A few years ago, they had me host, and we did one live. I don't know if that was the last one. I think they did one after that, and then yeah, everything shut down.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My question was, I guess you've hosted this before. What do you as a host? What do you prepare to do for the people that attend?
Yeah, the Future Arts Gala is great. It's a fundraiser because, again, LACHSA is a public school. So, aside from the stipend they get from the government, everything else is kind of out of pocket for the families and at times the faculty. So Future Arts Gala is great because it raises these extra finances for specialty programs and for, travel. A lot of kids come from pretty far away. We had kids when I went there that would like commute in from Las Vegas. And then my first year I was in Big Bear, but I stayed with my grandmother in Long Beach. But to answer your question, Future Arts Gala is just kind of a fun fundraiser. And the time I hosted before, and this time, my job as MC is to kind of just keep it entertaining and keep it going, because really what the heart of the gala and the heart of the show are these student demonstrations that they'll be doing all night. Each focus or each department will have current students do some sort of demonstration. So when you arrive, there's obviously tons of visual arts created by students who are on the visual arts program, but then they have musicians who will be playing, in various bands. Their jazz band has always kind of been award winning. They always travel. They always played like the Playboy Jazz Festival, which is a big deal and would like win or get honorable mentions. The theater department will do a performance. Now they have a film and television department, which they didn't have when I was there. But yeah, so it's that's kind of, you feel grateful to people who are in attendance, and you feel especially grateful for people who are able to and who are generous enough to donate and help support public arts education, specifically LACHSA. But really it's the students who do all the work, because you can't help but see 14, 15-year-old to 18-year-old kids with extraordinary talent, and not be moved to help create more of that, because I think it makes the world a better place.
The question is now, have you been asked by a student to perform with them Thursday night?
Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. No one wants. I'm over the hill. You know what I mean? My time has come. Not yet, but I'd be honored.
What's the best memory you have attending school?
Oh my gosh. Like what's tricky is coming in as a 15-year-old kid. Even knowing that I love performing, you're still a 15-year-old kid. Right. So at the time, I didn't really have the appreciation for the sort of the caliber of education that I was being exposed to. So like what at the time felt silly and weird, like Suzuki Japanese body movement training and animal studies and scene breakdowns of Greek classics, and my appreciation has only grown with time and with experience and traveling the world and working professionally and realizing what a head start LACHSA gave me, So, there's productions that I love doing there. We did a show called Dancing at Lunasa, which is like an Irish Welsh play. And that was directed by my favorite teacher and kind of the number one mentor in my life, Norman Cohen. And he was just the best, because like he was one of those teachers who didn't treat you like kids, you know what I mean? He treated you like an equal. And he just had like a wicked sense of humor. He taught a Friday elective course about stand-up, which was kind of like the first like comedy official training I ever received. So yeah, so there's all that stuff. And then you're high school kids. So there's just the fun of being at a high school surrounded by people who have a shared passion, but come from all over the place, who you otherwise would never have crossed paths with.
So you said 15, you're attending the school. What, like, you knew this is what you want to do. What made you get into this, like the entertainment industry, comedy, everything you've done so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of dyed in the wool. Like I've got artistic, entertaining parents. Like my father growing up loved doing theater and performing, and my mother is still a working musician and loves that. So it was always around. But I'm one of 5 kids, and I think whatever that inherent it factor or just bug, really more than anything, that bites you, I had it, and I just loved doing characters. I was a good mimic. I'm fairly musical. I was able to go into a room and not shy away, to kind of hold my own. So I started auditioning. My mom kind of curated this path for me and my younger siblings to like get a commercial agent and go and audition. And the two younger ones were immediately like, "This is awful. This stinks. I don't want to do it." But I was able to hang with it. So it was around. It was like, and it's been in these weird chunks, Elias, where like the commercial auditioning and then eventually going away from it, but then school plays came into the fold, and that was like my favorite social thing to do. And then this LACHSA opportunity, and like some movie, film, TV stuff in between. And then by the time I graduated from LACHSA, I'd certainly taken it on as my own passion. And I went to college as a musical theater major, actually, at UCLA. And during that freshman year, just as a fluke, like on a whim, got an audition for Mad TV, for the sketch show Mad TV.
Yeah, I remember that.
And kept auditioning, and they liked me, and they were willing to sort of like suffer my inexperience, but channel my energy. And that's what kind of put me into the comedy, you know, on the path to comedy greatness. So yeah, but it honestly, like, where my real professional journey began was at LACHSA, of understanding a discipline and a craft and a process and defining that for myself. So that's why I'm always so happy to jump back in and support any way I can.
That's awesome. Like when you like meet fans or even like friends of friends, and they ask you, they want to start in the industry, or they want to like learn, do you remind them where you went to school, just to like, give them an idea, try to go for it to see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, if they have kids, certainly friends, peers, associates who have kids at that age they're like, how do we get them jump started? LACHSA is definitely at the top of the list of recommendations. I mean, my general advice always is just like, do it and learn, like do it and always try to get better. Because if you do it for the love of doing it and not with sort of an expectation or a goal in mind, you're going to have a much happier experience.
Andrew Chappelle is your co-host, correct?
Yeah. So Andrew and I met doing Hamilton in New York, and then found out we had this shared connection where we both went to LACHSA. He's younger than I am. I'm the Danny Glover to his Mel Gibson. Although
you see that meme online, right?
Comparisons are appropriate, but you get the dynamic.
I'm
too old for this shit. He's young and talented.
You did just turn 40. I went on your Instagram and I saw every day you're posting pictures. How many days before 40 and those funny pictures along with it?
Yeah. I have what I've come to define as generic white man face, and I am tagged on a weekly basis of like, this person looks like Taran Killam, and sometimes it's very accurate, and sometimes it hurts my feelings a little bit. So I decided to do the top 10 Taran lookalikes in the countdown to 40.
How does it feel being 40? I'm going to be 45 in July.
Are you? I mean, I will say, like, I feel like I've earned 40. I look back on the first 40 years and I go like, yeah, I like that. I'll take that story. We had, like, for our actual birthday party, we did what's called a silent disco. Do you know this?
No, I never heard of that one. No.
So you put on headphones, and then the headphones have 3 different channels. So there's 3 different playlists, and you can switch the button to channel 1, 2, or 3. And it was a 4-hour dance party where it was just like 100 people dancing for 4 hours. And there was no better indicator of turning 40 than how horribly my knees hurt the next day. I was out of commission. And I was like, I danced 4 hours straight with joy. I didn't do anything crazy. And my body's saying, I hope that you enjoyed that, because it's probably the last time you should do that.
So is there Melina mentioned to me that you guys are working on a project now together too, right? You and Andrew? Or you're writing something?
Oh, exactly. Yes, me and Andrew. Yeah. Yes. So Andrew wrote a hilarious short film for him to star in, and he very kindly asked me if I would direct it. So hosting the gala this time kind of came about because Andrew was like calling in every favor for locations and reached out to Lois Hunter, who's the head of the theater department currently, and said, hey, can we shoot? Taran and I are working together. Can we shoot at LACHSA? And she said, yes, if you host this gala. And so we're like, all right, that feels fair. That feels like you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. So that's how it came about. But yeah, we're going to be filming it. We're doing like a 5-day shoot at the end of May, and it's really funny, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Even if you didn't get that, you would have hosted the gala no matter
if
what.
They asked, of course.
So you mentioned earlier, while you were going to college, that's when you started auditioning for Mad TV. When did the Groundlings happen?
So they're very closely connected. My year on Mad TV was thrilling and exciting and overwhelming because I'd never really, I hadn't done sort of the due diligence of going through training or doing touring shows or what have you. But everybody that I loved and respected, who I worked with on Mad TV, like a vast majority had come from the Groundlings Theater, and Michael McDonald and Michael Hitchcock both invited me to see like an improv show there, the Gas Show, which is the Thursday show. And my mind was blown. It was like the funniest, craziest, bravest, but also most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Like, they're just making it up. So once my time on Mad TV was done, me and two of the people I was living with at the time said, like, hey, we should do a basic class, right? Just to like know what it takes and what it's all about. And that was two friends from UCLA, Kyle Kennedy and Nassim Pedrad, who ended up being on SNL. She got cast the year before I did. And just immediately it was the most fun thing I'd ever done, because at the level 1 at Groundlings, you're just with people who either like want to make people laugh or enjoy laughing or are willing to be laughed at, and it's just silliness and dumb and vulnerable but exciting. And so it kind of just it just sort of snowballed. It just was the thing that I fortunately was allowed to keep doing and wanted to keep doing. And then by the time I'd made it into the Sunday Company, it was sort of like a 5-year process, 5-6-year process. That's where SNL came and saw me.
That's awesome. Now I've had have you gone back to like those surprise guests where they show up and they perform again? Have you done that a few times?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just last Thursday just did the Gash. That same show that I was brought to at like 19 years old and terrified me is now like my favorite thing to do. I just did it last week.
So the people that I've had on the show before, I was telling you before we went on the air, Matt Cook, Alex Bonifer, and awesome. Josh Banday. Have you worked with them?
So Matt did the show with me. Matt Cook was in the Gas Show with me just last week, and then yeah, I know the other two. I don't know that I've ever performed with either Alex or who's the third one you said?
Josh Banday.
Josh, yeah, Josh. Maybe Josh. I feel like I've done either like a Friday late show with Josh or something, but I don't know if Alex and I have overlapped, but all very, very funny people.
Now you've had a successful career. We're talking about Mad TV, SNL. You've done TV. One of my favorite characters that you've done is actually Scrubs. I love Scrubs.
Oh, amazing. Awesome.
So it's like, what's been like your favorite role that you've done on TV or film? To this day where it still sticks out.
Yeah, geez. I mean, the beautiful thing about SNL personally for me is that like that was my dream job for most of my adult life, and the show that kind of shaped me and defined my sensibilities, my taste level, so just being a part of it will always be one of the greatest professional honors of my life. And then to go into detail, there was a lot of characters that I enjoyed doing. I was there for 6 years, so got to do a lot of stuff. But in terms of just absolute enjoyment, getting to play King George in Hamilton on Broadway, that I felt like a contest winner. I literally was like, I don't know why they said yes to this. I feel so grateful every day. It's the most like loving environment. Like the cast is so proud to be a part of this show. The audience is losing their minds for you. So yeah, that was a big highlight.
Would you ever do it again, Broadway?
In a second.
Yeah.
Do you have a show?
No, I wish I did. I'll tell you, let's go do it. Now, what's next for you now? Like any other projects you're allowed to tell us about?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot a movie this summer in Europe, in like Hungary and Slovakia, which is exciting. And it's a thriller. It's not a comedy. So that feels like a fresh challenge for me, which has me like
Yeah.
nervous but excited. And then I just sold a TV show to Amazon's free channel. They call it Freevee now. It used to be
Right.
IMDb.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're just starting to write that, and that I'm pretty excited about that one.
Now, is your plan to try to star in that, or just be behind the scenes?
Yeah, it would be for me to star. It'd be it's a sort of romantic comedy.
Mm.
That yeah, if they like the scripts that they've hired us to write enough, hopefully they'll let us make.
I was told to ask you, when are you going to do a show with your lovely wife?
Any second. I mean, Kobe and I have actually fortunately been lucky enough to kind of work together a few times. So like when she was doing How I Met Your Mother, they gave me a really sweet recurring role on that.
Yeah.
She and I got to do Arrested Development together. We played like mini series versions of Lucille and George Sr. and we did that together. That was crazy. We both were in an episode of Simpsons together, which was insane. And then going back to theater. It always goes back to theater for me.
Mm.
But when I started doing Hamilton, she found out she was going to be doing a Noel Coward play literally 2 blocks away.
Wow.
And we had this like beautiful 2-month window of our lives where we were both doing theater in New York every Wednesday and Saturday, which had a matinee and a night show, like 2 show days is what they're called. We had like a built-in date, in between. It was a magical time. But in terms of like a full series, again, do you have a show for that?
I'll start writing something.
You gotta start writing. You gotta create content. Hit you up. The streamers are hungry for content.
Right. I know there's so many streamers now. You have
so many platforms.
What's your favorite platform?
I spend a lot of time on Hulu. I spend a lot of time on Hulu, but I also go to HBO Max a lot. Then with the family, we split our time between Netflix and Disney Plus.
Right. That's what it feels like in my household. When the kids are awake, it's always Disney Plus. When they go to bed, I'm going back to Netflix or you know what I actually like is Paramount Plus lately.
I've heard this. So there's maybe my favorite reality show is an MTV reality show called The Challenge. It's called The Challenge now, but at one time it was called Road Rules, and then the Road Rules Real World Challenge, and then anyway, there's a new season coming out in May, and that's what I'm here to promote today is season 3, The Challenge All Stars, May on Paramount Plus.
We're gonna see you in the background. You somehow got on there. You just running around, just
cheering.
Taran, lastly, how can the listeners and the viewers find you on social media to keep up with you?
On Twitter, it's just my name at Taran Killam. On Instagram, I'm Tarzan No Z spelled out, and everybody always is confused by that. They think it's Tarzan Oz or whatever, but it's how I tell people to spell my name. It's Tarzan No Z.
Yeah. Taran, this is great. Thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Let's get you back on again. Promote some other stuff when you have stuff out there.
Freaking write a show, and we'll be our own sort of synergized machine.
There you go.